what landscape do you feel most, I guess, in awe with, or do you most enjoy being around? So let me frame landscapes in this idea. Do you like the mountains? Are you a beach person? Do you like being on the ocean? Do you like to be in the forest? You know, we can put being on the lake. You know, for me, you know, any place that's not my office, I like. Yeah. No, my love of grasslands and open spaces are a love. Some people drive through, say, North Dakota, South Dakota, and they do not have an appreciation for the open range, grassland type of landscape. And to me, there's something majestic, something a little bit isolated, a certain loneliness that comes from being on the range and being on grassland that I get, and it has to do, I think, with being independent and somewhat being alone and vulnerable in a landscape like that. I think, and the sheer beauty of it. Now, I like being in the mountains. I miss the mountains. I'm a mountain guy. In a heartbeat, I would move to the mountains if I had a career to follow there, or an opportunity to do that. I also love being on the beach and enjoying the ocean and the lakes as well. So I'm not just a grassland guy, although it does continue to be near and dear to my heart as well. And these grasslands we are losing that ecosystem and that landscape by the day, and it's sad, and it can be probably the most threatened and endangered landscape in North America, at least in the tall grass prairie. There's less than 1/10 of 1% of the grassland remaining today that was prior to European settlement. So it not only being near and dear to my heart, it's also an underdog when it comes to hanging on and trying to function to keep, like, our grassland nesting birds alive and well. So when I enter the grassland landscape, I feel at home. I know the community and the economies that work under those rural situations in that kind of landscape. I understand the people, and so I do feel at home. I miss the mountains. I want to visit those and reconnect with that landscape that has been avoiding my life for the better part of 20 years, and I want to reconnect with that and get out and view the mountainous rangelands of the western US and Canada. And I'm just, my soul at this point desires to be in that landscape, and it so misses it. So I think we all have a place in our minds that we would like to visit and retreat back to get away from the daily grind and offer a little bit of escape to our lives. And certainly the mountains are on my to visit list. This rig's pulled over up here. I wonder what's wrong. Just checking the load. Hello. Get her binder down. Secure that load, baby. Oh, careful. More crows. Get a move on. So I've always viewed the mountains as a mystical landscape that really connected with my soul, and I like the feeling of being small, looking on to a landscape and feeling just how insignificant I can be in relation to that landscape. I have an appreciation for that, and certainly being in parts of the West will trigger that feeling. And here, living in northwest Minnesota, you've got a flat landscape that goes on for miles and miles, and although I do appreciate the grassland geography and climate of this area, it is rather monotonous. It does, there's not a hell of a lot of surprises around every bend. It can be if you are looking for, certain aspects of the grassland landscape or this type of environment. But, if you're from a place that has a lot of topography, there's something to see around every corner, completely different view and landscape and experience. This is probably flyover country for you, not too exciting. So, and being in this environment, I wonder if I got a hit rate on the camera there. I don't know if that was a damn. Not sure if that was a butterfly or made a good thud anyway. So yeah, If you're used to a lot of topography coming through this part of the country, you probably can't wait to get to either side of it. Where you start getting into actually some broken topography, like the Arrowhead of Minnesota. Something with a little more relief to the landscape anyway. Now, a place I haven't spent a lot of time that also, and I forgot the desert environment, and I'm probably forgetting a few other aspects as well. I think the desert can probably bring on the same emotion and connectivity that the grasslands of the upper plains can congregate, or what am I trying to say? I get conjure. Yes, conjure. So the desert, I think, can conjure up some of the same feelings and emotions that I have with grasslands down in that environment. I definitely want to visit and take in a little bit of the desert experience during my lifetime, and that there's so much to see, you know, and hopefully, God willing, and economically and health-wise, I'm able to go and visit majestic places like Southwest Utah, Grand Canyon area of northern Arizona, and not just Southwest Utah, but maybe most of Utah. That's one state I have not visited, and I would like to take some time to go explore that state. Probably this time of year is not the time to go down there and visit, but maybe late winter. I don't know. If you've been down there and you know of a good time of the year to go visit where it's not so blasted hot yet, it makes for good motorcycling. Please comment on the page if you can. If not, drop me an email at hogtietv@gmail.com. I would appreciate that. So I've also spent a lot of time on lakes, and a fair amount of time of my life, comparatively speaking, with most people that live around me or that live in this region. Spent a lot of time around the ocean environment. That is a pretty cool environment, at least from the oceanic side. Again, feeling small and insignificant sometimes looking out over the ocean, and being within that environment. Pretty cool. If I had a choice, I would probably choose the mountains over the ocean. I spent a lot of time on lakes here in Minnesota, did a lot of fishing as a kid. Spent a lot of time up in the forest at relatives' cabins. So being in the forest, being on the lake, certainly a good time. My least favorite environment to spend time in, at least during the active growing season, is the forest, at least in this region of the country, because of the wood tick issue and the Lyme disease, mainly tick issues and bloodborne pathogens such as anaplasmosis, Now we have the West Nile virus with the mosquitoes. That certainly makes it, I guess, not as fun as being in the woods and being in the forest environment up here during the summer months. And that does change during the fall time of the year with the weather and the changing of the color and the fall colors, and just being in the woods that time of year is pretty fun. Although the ticks are starting to be around that time too, later and later, as our fall time of the year seems to be a little bit warmer later into the fall, so you're getting those ticks hanging on later into the season. So you've got those environments, spending time in them and recreating and enjoying your time. You know, I've grown up hunting. I've hunted waterfowl. I was a big waterfowl hunter growing up, and I can't even remember the last time I bought a federal duck stamp or a waterfowl license to hunt, but it's got to be a long time ago now. 15, 20 years? At least. And I'm considering giving up deer hunting, and I think that's got to be a topic for a longer ride. I would like to maybe discuss what I'm going to do with that here and what I want to do. I have, again, my interests are changing, and I feel that I want to explore these new interests. So I think I have a lot of thoughts. I've got a lot of feelings, and I'm excited about the future. You know, I'm excited for motorcycling. I'm excited to pick up a travel trailer, a toy hauler, once we're able to do that. I'm really looking forward to those two things, joining them as a recreation, merging those two and going out, hauling the bike somewhere, spending a weekend or a week or a long weekend, and taking in some new experiences. I am beyond ready for doing something like that. It's about time the plans get drawn up and to execute that plan. Excuse me. So yeah, the forest has been good. Spent some time there, but you know, it's just, I feel the mountain region and that area pulling me back and wanting, my soul wanting to be in that landscape again. So I'm sure I've bored you to death with that talk, but I guess I like being outdoors, and that's a topic that I feel interested in talking about at the moment. So I really appreciate you guys stopping by, checking out my motor blogs, and I continue to build on this. If there's something that you see that I need to improve upon, hopefully I've got this camera angle down now. I'm kind of a newbie at this stuff, so I'm up for constructive criticism on how to make Hogtied TV a little bit better place. Hopefully, I know some of my thoughts can be a little I guess not very well organized at times, but maybe I can improve upon that with a little more practice and get a few more episodes under my belt. So please subscribe to my page, like or dislike my video, and I'm up for positive comments and positive criticism, and thanks for dropping by. Bye-bye now.